Thank you so much. Looking out here, the voices of the future. Do not allow them to fall on deaf ears, because you really are that voice. And you'll never accomplish everything that you've dreamed, but you will accomplish nothing that you haven't dreamed. And that dream starts today, because that journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Sooner or later, we run into situations that are too big to handle. In the West, we can avoid them. In the third world, the developing world, we can't. And that leads us to the most remarkable self-discovery. It is a discovery that poor people are dying, not because of the indifference of the world towards poverty, but because of the ineffective efforts of those who do care. Destinations are everywhere. We tend to gravitate towards things that are very meaningful and near in our lives. If we've lost someone to breast cancer, leukemia, we tend to work towards that. And whether it is an act of God through nature, such as the tsunami or Katrina, or whether it is man's inhumanity to man, such as we've seen in Bosnia, Rwanda, and now the Sudan, at the end of the day, we're left managing a moment of truth. Shakespeare said the truth will set us free. That is also the same truth that is killing. It is killing in the statistics. $2.3 trillion, 50 years, we have raised as a world. $2.3 trillion, 50 years. But we still can't get the 12-cent medication for malaria to the children of the third world. July the 14th, 11 million copies of Harry Potter delivered to both British and American children. Nothing wrong with that. But we can't get 13 cents malaria nets to the children of the third world. We think we're on the bottom rung of the ladder, day to day, with the problems we have in school, homework. We think we're on that bottom rung of that ladder. We just don't realize there are two ladders below us. Two ladders below us. We just haven't seen it. And I've had the fortune, and I say fortune because I can come back and speak around the country, of spending time in Ethiopia, where a child with a full belly has a smile on their face. Time in Rwanda, with the 400,000 orphans from the genocide. A genocide that could have been prevented. We, as a world, let the third world down. We stood there and we watched. And on my recent trip, 13 flights, 28,000 miles, I went into the heart of the Sudan. And I looked these children in the eyes. I felt, I tasted, I smelt death. It changed me. It's a watershed. In Ethiopia, PBS did a wonderful video of our whole story over there. We showed it in Denver before it was aired nationally. One snowy December evening, I was in the parking garage in Larimer Square. Got out my parking ticket, handed it to the attendant who was from Ethiopia. He looked me in the eyes, he said, "You were in that movie, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He then proceeded to tell me something I will never hear again in my life, and very few people do. He said, "Thank you for saving my people." In Rwanda, I was conducting a soccer clinic. Soccer's been my background, the universal language of peace. And on this soccer field, the headmaster came up, tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "Michael, this is the same field where 300 children were macheted to death. And this is the first time we've had laughter." Another watershed. And then in the Sudan, where the children come up, grab you and say, "All we want is the white man to come, to dig our water wells, to pave our roads. We're tired of getting rice. We don't want a handout. We want a hand up. Enough with relief. We have to develop and keep developing." And through what I've done with the 16th of May Foundation, which is my foundation, because at 5 a.m. on the 16th of May, 1983, in the village of Bor, The first bullet was fired. It shattered the morning air. And that is the bullet, the one bullet that led to 2.5 million deaths. And what we see in the Sudan right now, we've tasted Darfur. It's a problem between North and South, between Muslims and Christians, between no oil and oil. This is the problem. And in 2005, we had the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. We brokered that as the United Nations and the United States. If that can come to fruition, there is hope. It is the only country in the world where there is no border. The border moves with the rainy season, up and down. It was drawn in the sand. And in 2011, Darfur, Sudan North and Sudan South will change because the Southern Sudanese will be voting on whether to become one united nation. But 2011 is a long way off. We have to act now. And what we are doing by acting now is using our voices. Using our voices against China for the Olympics. Dealing with what is happening with the United Nations. To stand around and watch, we cannot do. Because eventually, as a group and as a voice, we can make that next move. So that we eventually can walk together in one shadow. Thank you.